Hey guys, it's Olivia. Welcome to my channel. I wanted to make the very first video my testimony video just to have a foundation on Jesus and why I'm alive, why I have faith in him, and why I'm even making this channel at all. So this is going to be my testimony. Now, I had a channel a year and a half ago. I made my testimony video. I made a few Bible study videos, but I just decided to completely redo it, and then just start fresh and really be so serious and so locked in for this. I am believing Jesus will just take this ministry and do more than I did with it before. We're just gonna start from the very beginning. I was born into a pretty Christian family. One side was Catholic and the other was Christian, but I was raised Christian. So I grew up going to church. We may not have gone every single Sunday, but we went as many Sundays as we could, and I even went to my grandparents' Catholic churches, and I even enjoyed that when I was younger. But I feel like my life was almost perfect from my memory up until I turned 11. Well, up until I got into 5th grade. So 5th grade was 3 different elementary schools brought into one, and it also had some Catholic schools mixed into it. So I went from having 22 kids in my class to having like 32 or something like that. So there was so many new people to meet and so many new friends and so many new boys, and I was definitely very boy crazy at that time. So it was like the biggest turning point in my life. Up until then, I was the happiest little girl ever. I just made friends with everyone. I didn't care about money. I didn't care about what I looked like. Like, I was just there to have fun, you know? And when I was making friends, I only cared about if I liked them and if they were fun and if they liked me. But then 5th grade happened and we all started caring about what we looked like. We cared more about like how rich our families were and just how popular and cool we are. And then spring break, when I was 11, I went to Florida with my dad and my sister and my mom's brother. My dad's parents go down to Florida during the winter, so we went down there just to hang out with him. So I was sleeping on the floor in front of the couch and he was sleeping on the couch, and I had gone up to go to the bathroom, and then I came back and I was almost fully asleep. I think he thought I was asleep. I think that he wouldn't wake me up and I would have no idea what he had done, but his hands ended up going up my shirt and down my pants, and that is all I remember. I don't remember too many details. I don't remember how long it happened. I don't remember if anything more happened. That was all I remember, and I can see it in my mind happening. So that happened on that trip, and I didn't tell anyone. Not one soul knew other than me and him. And after that, I feel like I just became a new person, because I didn't know that assault like that was a thing, especially not by someone in your family. So I thought it was my fault. I thought I had asked him to do it, or like by the way I was acting or what I was saying to him or whatever, like I made him think that I was okay with it. I thought that if I told anyone, I would get in trouble for it. So I kept it to myself. I was really embarrassed and really ashamed of it, so I didn't want I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't want any of my friends, my family, no one. Until it started just eating me alive, and I had to tell I call her my stepsister. She's not really my sister. Not by our parents, but by siblings. We share siblings. But she's been my other half since day one. So I told her about it. And then I think it took another year or two after that for me to tell my parents. In between there, I started getting super, super depressed, and I had anxiety, and I feel like my world was just crumbling down all around me, and life just kept breaking me down. Like, I was this happy, glowing little girl, and then 5th, 6th, and 7th grade, and even a little bit of 8th, but 5th through 7th grade, I just feel like the world was just like chipping away at me constantly and dimming that light that was inside of me. So I was resorting to self-harm. I had cut myself a lot. I had taken random pills. I was in the bathroom. I don't know what I was expecting, but I know in 6th grade we watched Cyberbully, and she tries to take pills, and then I was also on Vine, and Vine was detrimental to my brain because I was on the side of Vine where it was like all depressing stuff, and it was like the song like Lost Boy, and I don't know, it was just very, very depressing. And I watched so many videos of people like hurting themselves or wanting to kill themselves or all these things. So it was just constantly pouring into my brain all these ideas. It was like the world telling me that I should be depressed and how I should be depressed and what I should do about it. So things like that were just flooding my brain constantly and making me so much worse. So I came to a point where I was just like, I need to tell my parents about what happened with my uncle. I need to tell someone. I need to tell everyone. I had a niece. Well, I still have that niece, but at the time I just had that one niece, and she was also his niece. So I was thinking, like, if I found out anything had happened to her because I didn't raise my voice, I also have a younger sister. If anything happened to her because of him, because I didn't raise my voice, I didn't say something, I didn't prevent it from happening, I would never be able to forgive myself. So her and I had talked about it. I couldn't tell my parents face to face. That was something humongous, and it happened with my mom's brother, and it happened at my dad's parents' house with him in the same room, in the living room. So it was just so overwhelming thinking about telling them and seeing their reaction. So she had told her mom, then her mom told our brother, then our brother told my mom, and there were some really unfortunate things that happened throughout all of that with other family members. Word spread like wildfire throughout the entire family, and it was just a really, really weird time. Some things were happening legally, I guess, and I'm not gonna talk about that, but it was very, very traumatizing, honestly. It was, I mean, it still bothers me to this day. So that was more things that, you know, just beat me down and made me feel like it was my fault, and I felt so bad for breaking my dad's heart, and my mom's, and I feel like because of that, my entire family had this huge shift, and I thought it was my fault. I was very sad and sorry that I had done that, but I had no idea that it was not because of me, you know? It wasn't my fault at all. It was the best thing that I could have done, is to tell everyone and for everyone to be made aware, not to be angry at him or, you know, want to hurt him or anything like that, but to protect other girls from him and to help him, because obviously he was hurting himself. Hurt people hurt people, you know? People who are happy and joyful don't hurt people. So, but at that time I had no idea. I was angry at him. I hated him. I was so hurt by him. I didn't want to see him again. But that has all changed now, thankfully, due to Jesus. In there somewhere in between like 6th or 7th grade, I tried to kill myself. I covered my entire arm front and back with cuts, and I had taken a handful of random pills. I have no idea what they were. They could have been ibuprofen, Midol, I have no idea. Just whatever I could get my hands on that was in the bathroom. And then I stayed up super late. I had school the next morning. I woke up and I was still basically crying, so I was like, Mama, I can't go to school. Like, I'm in so much pain. I need to stay home. She's like, okay, hope you feel better. I gotta go to work. So I was home alone. My sister went to school. Dad was already at work. My mom left for work. I came down the stairs and I sat in our living room, and I had been thinking about finishing what I had started the night before. And the thing was, I was suicidal for probably a year and a half solid. But the thing was, I never wanted to actually die. I was actually really terrified of dying, because I grew up my entire life hearing about heaven and hell in the Bible. So I was like, if it just so happens to be true, I don't want to go to hell. You know, that's just a little too terrifying. The thought of that, like that fear, trumped me wanting to die. But at that time I was like, if God really does exist, I don't want anything to do with him, because he let all these terrible things happen to me. He is sitting up there watching his daughter, his beloved daughter, absolutely be heartbroken and physically hurt and assaulted, and she wants to kill herself, and he's just sitting up there letting it happen. So I was really angry at God, if he did exist. So that morning, I was in the living room and I was like, okay, I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna do it. I genuinely can't do this anymore. So I stood up and I was about to walk upstairs, and in our living room, the front door is right here, and there was a big window right next to it, and then it was the stairs to go upstairs. As I was walking in front of that window, I looked out of it and I saw my mom's car and my grandparents' car rushing down the driveway. And I was like, I guess I'm not doing it, and I guess they found out, so I'm never going to be able to do it. And the thing was, I always wanted someone to know, because I wanted that help. I wanted to feel better. But just like with my uncle, I thought that people would blame me for it. And I felt ashamed and embarrassed, and I was like, this is my problem, and it's my problem to fix, and this is not something that I'm not gonna talk to about anyone, really. I mean, my friends knew, Snapchat knew, because I had posted about it because I was wanting attention, but I was wanting attention for the right reasons. Not because I was like, I'm depressed, help me. No, it was because I was actually depressed, and I was actually wanting help. So they came in and they were like, what is going on? What's wrong with you? Let me see your arm. Like, why would you do this? What is going on? And everything that happened after that was a really big blur. I don't have very many memories of anything having to do with any of that. But I do remember that very vividly. So that was fun. And then I met my current husband, which is so insane to say, because last time I made this video, he was just my boyfriend. Now he's my husband. So that's so much fun to say. But so I met him and we started dating the summer before my freshman year, and I thought he was the best thing that ever happened to me, truly, and he still has, other than Jesus, on this earth. And at that time, I thought that everything was going to be perfect again. I was going to be that happy little girl again. Like, everything was going to be fixed. He was going to be able to fix it all. And I was just so wrong. Not to say bad things about him, but he's not capable of filling that hole that was inside of my heart. He wasn't able to fix the heart that he didn't break. Jesus was the only one that was able to do that, but I didn't know it at that time. So I had genuinely thought that he was going to be able to fix all of that, and I was rudely mistaken by my own ignorance. He's amazing. He's literally the best thing that ever happened to me. He has always been amazing. He's always been sweet, caring, selfless, like literally every single good thing that I can say about anyone on this earth, that's him. And it always has been. From the very first time that I saw him, when we started dating, I knew that I was going to marry him. Even though I'd already had so many boyfriends, it was so much different with him. Like, I knew immediately, this is the man that I'm going to marry. So it was really, really, really hard for me at that time to expect my heart to be fixed and it not be fixed. And it was really confusing because he was all those amazing things, and I was like, why do I still feel broken? Why do I have so much anger? Why am I still so bitter? Why is that incident and every incident before that still affecting me so much? So then my parents were forcing me to go to youth group at the church that we grew up going to, and at the time I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I did not want to be there, but I am so thankful that my parents never, I'm gonna start crying. I'm just so thankful that my parents never gave up on me and my sister. And even though maybe their faith was wavering, they were going through a lot. I have so many memories of them going through so many things growing up. Even without me and my siblings, like, they had their own lives and they had their own struggles, but they still never gave up on me or my sister or their faith or God, and I'm very, very, very thankful for that. So at the time, I really didn't like going to youth group, but I'm so thankful that I did. Even if youth group wasn't the thing that saved me, it wasn't until after I was out of youth group that I was saved. But I went to our conferences, and I went to church camp 2 years in a row, and I ended up getting baptized after coming home from I think it was the first camp that I went to, or the second camp, I don't remember. One of the camps we came home and I decided to get baptized. And it was at that moment that I thought that everything was going to be fixed. I was like, oh, I'm getting baptized. It's going to fix me. Like, being immersed in that water is what's going to fix me. Jesus, hey, I'm broken, heal me, and that was it. It was like a one-sided transaction. I was like, here's what I need. Thank you. I'm baptized. I'm fixed. But I didn't feel any different. I didn't act any different. I was still hurting, and things were still happening to me, and things were still piling on. I think I was baptized before I started dating my husband in 8th grade. So then all throughout high school, I didn't feel any different. Nothing was different at all. So I was blaming God even more. I was like, I just got baptized and I was, that was supposed to fix everything. What's going on? I'm actually getting worse again. And then I have this awesome, amazing guy that I'm treating so terribly because I'm so messed up and I'm so hurt. I have so much anger and bitterness, and I don't know the creator of love. I don't know the creator of me. So I don't know how to love him properly. I don't know how to be a proper human being in general. What is going on? So my brain was literally so chaotic. I was so all over the place. I was still trying to find out who I was, what my purpose was on this earth, and it was just so much. It was too much for my brain. But I will say I was not suicidal anymore, and I had stopped harming myself. I was just still super, super depressed also. And then it was 2 weeks before my 18th birthday, I think, roughly 2 weeks. I was coming home from my husband's house. So I had come home super, super late. It was midnight or 1 a.m. or something like that from his house. And I was driving home, and I just felt so empty. Even though my husband was the best, I can't say it enough, literally the best person I've ever met in my entire life, there was still a hole inside my heart. It was still broken, and I didn't know why. So I got up to this stop sign that I have to go to get to that house. My parents lived there for many years, and now my brother and his wife live there with their kids. So every single time I get to that stop sign, I'm reminded of this being saved by Jesus. So I was flipping through the radio stations, and this one song, Defender, came on, and I had known it because of youth group, because it was on the radio and my mom was driving. So I had stopped on it. I was like, sure, why not? I don't know what else to listen to, honestly. So I started to listen to the lyrics, and I know, at that time I knew like the entire song because I had heard it so many times. But then I just started crying, and I was like, my soul is yearning to mean the words that I'm saying. My soul wants to believe in the words that I'm singing, that I'm hearing. So I just started bawling my eyes out. I was like, okay, listen, I am at the very bottom. I thought this guy, this amazing, close to perfect guy, was gonna fix everything for me. But I still feel so broken, and apparently it's not something that he'll be able to fix. So if no one on this earth, like the best guy that I've ever met in my entire life and will ever meet, if he can't fix it, who else can? What else can? I'm at the very bottom. I don't know where else to turn to. I don't know where else to go. Jesus, if you can do what this lady is singing about to me and in my life, I'll choose you. I'll follow you. I'll do whatever you command me to do. I'll be yours. Let's try it. I have nowhere else to go. I have nothing else to turn to. Let's try it. And it was literally the most insane thing that has ever happened in my entire life. From that second, I was a totally different person. Totally different. And I'm even totally different now than I was in those few years after being saved. There were so many other things that just instantly changed in my life, and I was like, okay, this is amazing already. I already feel so much better. Let's continue to try this. So then I moved out. I bought a Bible for the very first time. So that big of a drastic change that happened in my life, from feeling lost, depressed, broken, no purpose. I didn't care about life. I wanted to die. I was harming myself so much. I didn't want to believe in God, and if he was real, I hated him at that time. And now, I couldn't imagine not being alive. Like, I am so thankful that God saved me, and he saved me when he did, and he protected me from myself. I know that's not true for everyone, and my heart goes out to anyone that has had to deal with that. But this is my story. This is what God has done in my life, and I'm just so beyond thankful for that. So that's why I decided to make this channel. I can't stay quiet about my faith. I know that Jesus can change your life. He can change anyone's lives, no matter how far away you are from him, no matter how far away you feel from him, because he's always right there behind you. He's always waiting for you. He always loves you. He's always watching over you, even when you don't feel him, you don't hear him, even when you don't believe in him, he's still there. He's not dependent on your belief. You're dependent on him. So yeah, I was like, I can't keep quiet about this. And then I had this huge other drastic thing happen in my life like 3 years ago. And I'm not the same person that I was after being saved even. So I have this channel, and I hope that I can reach as many people and I can bring God's light into as many people's lives. I saw this thing where it said, I bet the disciples would have loved to have social media, just because they literally had to travel on foot most times, thousands of miles to spread the gospel. There were many times where they went without food. I mean, they were always provided for it, obviously, but could we imagine having to travel thousands of miles in order to spread the gospel? Some of us can't even speak up to our friends, the ones that are right next to us, and they traveled thousands of miles, and they were killed for their faith, and they were brought to prison for their faith. So like all of that, and reading throughout the entire Bible, I'm just like, I can't keep quiet. It is because of Jesus that I'm alive today, that I have so much joy, that I have purpose, that I am found, I'm loved, and now I can give all of that back to people. I don't have that bitterness, I don't have that anger. I have completely, fully forgiven my uncle and everyone in all of the situations that happened in my life. I don't hold, well, at least I don't try to hold grudges. I try to give forgiveness as well as Jesus has for me. So that's just, I just can't keep quiet about my faith, you know? I would be an awful friend, I would be an awful person to keep that joy, that healing, that purpose, that closeness, that light to myself, you know? Those disciples, they dedicated their entire lives to Jesus and spreading the gospel. So that's what I intend to do, to the best of my ability on this channel. So yeah, that was my testimony, and I just see so much brokenness and anger and bitterness, and so many people are lost and scared and led astray. So I can't force them to believe. I can't force you to believe. I can't force anyone to do anything. But I'm also never going to withhold this light and this truth and this healing from anyone. I wish Jesus on my worst enemy. I don't have a worst enemy, but if I did, I would want Jesus to be found in their life. So yeah. So this channel is going to be Bible studies, it's going to be physical health, mental health, spiritual health. I'm going to mix in some travel, hopefully, also, because I love traveling, and I love traveling just to see God's creation. But it's mainly just going to be faith-based things. I'm going to try to go through the entire Bible to do studies for them. I've started Revelation. I've started taking notes for Genesis and Exodus. And then I'm probably going to do the Gospels also, because the Gospels, I feel like the Gospels, Genesis and Exodus and Revelation are probably the biggest books. Obviously, they're all very, very, very important, or else they wouldn't be in the Bible. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye, guys!